Hi, teacher. Good evening.
Hi, Vanessa. Just give me 2 seconds. Voy a estar compartiendo esta cosa en... Um, estos. Hi, you guys. We're gonna wait a little bit longer because there's just 2 of us right now. Bueno, las 3. So vamos a esperar unos minutos.
Okay, teacher.
Ah. Mm. Hi, you guys.
Hi, Miss. Good evening.
Wait. Wait a second, guys. Give me just a second for me to share this to the YouTube live. Hace rato no me dejó, so I'm gonna try again. Mm. Okay, for whatever reason, it's not letting me share the to the YouTube channel. Pero no importa, igual vamos a encontrar una forma de subirlo después. Let me just check a few things. Okay, ahora sí. So hi you guys. Ahora sí, good evening. It's nice to see you guys. Estas horas tan tardes de la noche. Well, here in Bolivia, it's kind of late. So, today we're gonna have our listening practice. I don't know if you guys could quickly tell me what Andrea already told you in your classes. Sobre cómo es la parte de listening, que les explicó más o menos cómo va.
That we're gonna hear about conversations and lectures about academic aspects more.
So yeah, and we're gonna, espera, les voy a compartir pantalla. Okay, so yes, there are two types of audios to listen to usually on a TOEFL test. You have the more academic lecture type ones and that are, use more formal language. and the more informal, casual conversation types. So here we're going to see especially the lecture types of listening. When you take the real test, you can only listen to it once. See, if it asks you to interpret maybe a specific part of the listening, it's going to give you that part, esa partecita, pero nada más. Todo el audio completo solo lo pueden escuchar una vez. So for taking the test, I would recommend having a piece of paper so you can take notes while you listen. So if you guys can grab a little piece of paper, or maybe like on the notes in la aplicación notepad on your computer, you can go taking notes while you listen. For notes, I would recommend cada que se introduce un nuevo concepto, como si fuera el título de la idea, ¿no? So listen to especially those points. This lecture is going to be a lecture in a biology class. Does anyone here study like medical sciences or biology? No? Okay, so we're kind of all, ayuda mucho si tienes una base en el área. But in this case, we're gonna listen to the audio.
Listen to part of a lecture in a...
And como ya les había decir Andrea también, the longer lecture audios are usually like 5 to 6 minutes long, maximum 6 minutes, no pasa 6 minutos. And the shorter ones are like between 2 or 3 minutes. This one is 5.5 minutes. So vamos a escuchar.
Listen to part of a lecture in a biology class.
All organisms need energy, right? All living things have to consume energy-dense biological materials, otherwise known as foods, in order to function, grow, and maintain healthy cells. The food that is ingested by the organism has to be digested in order to be absorbed and effectively used for whatever bodily process is needed. So let's compare digestion in humans and something pretty far removed. Single-celled organisms called protozoa. Both protozoa and humans ingest substantial amounts of food material and break it down into 3 parts of digestion. I mean, they share the same basic phases. The 3 parts of digestion are mechanical, chemical, and absorption. First, let's take a look at the 3 different parts of digestion that are common to both protozoa and humans. For many organisms, mechanical digestion involves the breakdown of large food particles into smaller and more manageable sizes. These food particles keep their original molecular composition, their original chemical makeup, when they're broken down into smaller particles. That's important because at this early stage, there's only minimal nourishment to be drawn from most foods. But the smaller physical size assists enzymes, which are these chemicals that break down food. The smaller size of whatever's being ingested helps the enzymes to gain better access to specific molecules in the food. Smaller pieces means more surface area, so material can be broken down more quickly. That's the chemical digestion process, the work of enzymes. Once the food material is broken down into its core components, the building blocks of sustenance, smaller nutrients can be absorbed in humans by cells that line the gut. We'll come back to that in a moment. Finally, the absorption stage of digestion occurs when these nutrients are taken up and directed to different parts of the organism, along with minerals and vitamins that are connected to essential enzymatic activity. So how do protozoa and humans apply these 3 stages of digestion differently? That may seem like a silly question because clearly single-celled creatures don't have digestive tracts. Instead, protozoa create an internal vacuole to ingest and digest food. You can picture the vacuole as a kind of bubble within the cell, or maybe a subunit. It's even bound by a cell membrane that protects the vacuole like a skin. In the case of an amoeba, one type of protozoa, temporary cell projections extend and contract, engulfing the food particles into food vacuoles. That's the mechanical stage of the process. Digestive enzymes are then sent in That is, they're released into the food vacuole as part of chemical digestion. This helps to break down the contents of the vacuole into those simpler molecules, which then go through the absorption stage and enter the protozoa's main cell structure. If the food particle that is ingested carries anything unusable or unnecessary, it's expelled from the vacuole. Let me give you another example. So there's this protozoa, a single-celled organism called Paramecia that sweeps up microscopic food like a vacuum cleaner. It sucks the food up into oral grooves and the lower end of the gullet, where a food vacuole is created. This is the mechanical phase. The food vacuole eventually travels, the whole vacuole moves toward the anterior end of the cell, away from the front of the Paramecia. Chemical breakdown of the food begins, and the essential nutrients are absorbed. Just like before, any waste is expelled. The human digestive system, on the other hand, is made up of a sort of canal for the food to move through the body. It consists of the oral cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and rectum. And there are a number of glands lining that canal, including the wall of the stomach, intestines, pancreas, and liver. It's not as simple as sweeping up food. Mechanical digestion for humans involves crushing and liquefying food. That's chewing for the most part, but also contractions of the stomach and small intestine. But believe it or not, chemical digestion actually begins in the mouth, our spit, saliva. It helps to liquefy and lubricate the food, breaking down complex starches before the food is moved through the rest of the canal. Of course, in the stomach, acid and enzymes break down the food even more. The acidity levels in the stomach help to destroy any ingested microorganisms and support enzymatic activity. All of this is basically just a more complex form of the same three stages we saw in those single-celled organisms.
Okay, so that was the audio. Now we're going to go ahead with the questions. There are 6 questions for these longer audios, for the lecture ones. There are 6 questions. So usually we're going to have the same type of questions. One of the questions is going to be about the main idea. So Vanessa, could you please read the question and options?
Okay, sure. What is the main topic of the lecture? A, the 3 distinct parts of nutrient absorption in unicellular organisms. B, differing forms of 3 general stages of the digestive process. C, why larger organisms require more complex digestive processes than protozoa. And D, differences among the digestive processes of amoeba, Paramecia, and other protozoans.
Protozoans. Okay, so which one do you think it is?
Maybe the third one, why larger organisms require more complex digestive processes than protozoa.
But do we talk more about the bacteria or the protozoa, or about humans? Porque está comparando, ¿no? El sistema digestivo humano con estas cositas. Which one does it talk more about? Which one does it describe more? In this one, the main idea sería justificar por qué los organismos más grandes. So I don't think it's this one, porque no habla mucho de otros organismos. Describe bastante the protozoa. So which other one do you think it could be?
Maybe the second one, different forms of the 3 general stages of the digestive process.
Yeah, why do you think so?
Because it talks about the mechanical, chemical, and absorption stages of the digestive process.
Yes, exactly. And it gives examples of how it works in different organisms, in protozoa and in humans. So I agree, and I'm going to say it's this one. And yes, that's the correct answer. So let's see the next one. Weimar, can you read the question and the options, please?
According to the professor, which of the following is true of mechanical digestion? It does not alter the chemical composition of foods that are ingested. It is less important for simple organisms like protozoa than it is for humans. It is a vital step because it helps organisms to create necessary enzymes. It leads directly to the absorption of vitamins and minerals used by enzymes.
And which one do you think it is?
I don't know.
Which one do you, de una la descartas?
Maybe the second one.
Yeah, because it says it's different, but it doesn't say it's less important. Igual lo describe a detalle cómo es el proceso en protozoa. So I don't think it's this one. Which one isn't? ¿Cuál otro lo puedes descartar?
The third one, maybe.
I think another direct option que no es, it leads directly to the absorption of vitamins and minerals used by enzymes, because we're talking about mechanical.
Oh.
So todavía no estamos hablando de absorción. So this one also, no. I think it's between these two. Alejandro, which one do you think? Entre estos dos, ¿cuál te parece mejor?
I think it's the third one.
This one, a vital step because it helps organisms to create necessary enzymes. And yeah, it does mention that when humans are, when you chew your food, your spit already starts to digest it. So let's see. I think it could be any of those two, but let's see. And the correct answer was the first one. Because while this is true, he mentions it for humans. The general idea that he talks about is that the mechanical process is totally different from the chemical process. Y no afecta todavía su composición química. Eso ya va en the next part of digestion. So the correct answer was the first one. Daniela, can you read the question and the options, please?
Okay. According to the professor, what is vacuole? An enzyme commonly found in various protozoa, a type of organ that is similar in design to a digestive tract, a bubble of enzymes that is released to break down food particles, a subunit within a cell that utilizes digestive enzymes.
Which one do you think it is?
I think the third one, the bubble of enzymes.
Keyword here. Remember, when we have these statements, algunas partes van a estar equivocadas. Va a tener partes que sí suenen ciertas, pero algunas van a estar equivocadas. So here it says a bubble of enzymes that is released to break down food particles. How does he describe the process? Dice que en algún rato se suelta algo. O más bien que the vacuoles kind of absorb the food that the protozoa has eaten. It doesn't say release. It doesn't release at any point. So this is a keyword to know that this is probably not the right answer. Anyone else have a different opinion?
Maybe the second one. I don't know.
Type of organ that is similar in design to a digestive tract. Yeah, so básicamente dices, it kind of gives that idea, pero más adelante también menciona que son muy diferentes. Obviously, the digestive tract in a human and the mechanical digestive processes in protozoa. So it does kind of make a comparison, but at different points in the audio. They're not directly correlated. So I would also maybe, it sounds possible, but I'm not sure about this one.
Maybe the last one.
Primero, this one, an enzyme commonly found no es one enzyme, sino que es como que a little bubble inside the cell. So it's not this one either. Yeah, he does describe it as a part of the cell, a subunit that utilizes digestive enzymes. If we're not sure about the very specific information, esto parece la forma más general de decirlo, ¿no? Una partecita de la célula que utiliza estas enzymes.
Yeah, I think this one.
We're gonna go with this one, and yes, that's the correct answer. And Paola, can you read the question and options, please?
How does the professor organize the information on digestive systems? From an overview on common elements of digestion between protozoa and humans to detailed descriptions and the difference between them. From an introduction to simple digestion in protozoa and humans to a discussion of more complex digestion in both types of organisms. From less essential aspects of ingestions and digestions in protozoa and humans to more significant aspects. From a review of the process of ingestion to an illustration of the subsequent digestion seen in various organisms.
And which one do you think it is?
Maybe the second one.
Why do you think so?
I heard something about both types of organisms.
Yeah, as always, las opciones siempre van a tener elementos en común. So here también estamos hablando de comparar between protozoa and humans. Now, both types of organisms, we're also talking about the comparison between protozoa and humans. Again, here, all of them really mention it, but we have to go eliminando información. So let's see from the bottom up. From a review of the process of ingestion to an illustration of the subsequent digestion. So como que no chronological order of what happens when you consume food. Lo cuenta así, como que como esto y primero. Not really. He jumps back and forth between different parts of the digestive system, sometimes mentioning the protozoa and sometimes later mentioning how it happens with humans. So no es como que un proceso cronológico desde ingesting food and digesting it. So I wouldn't say it's this one. From less essential aspects of ingestion and digestion in protozoa and humans to more significant aspects. So from less important things to more important ideas, maybe. Do you think así yo manejo la información o? I don't really think so, because all the information was, all processes are todos los procesos que explica son importantes. So I don't think it's this one. Let's see. I think it's one of these two options. So let's see. From an introduction to simple digestion in protozoa and humans to a discussion of more complex digestion in both types of organisms. So lo mismo, solo que en vez de no importante a más importante es de simple a más complicado. So primero cuenta, first does he talk about the simple aspects and then the more complicated aspects? Do you think it could be this one? I think it's a very possible option. And the other one, from an overview of common elements in digestion between protozoa and humans to detailed description and the differences between them. What do you think of
I
this
think
one?
it's the first. I think it's the first one.
I agree. It could be any of the two, but I feel more strongly with this one. Porque at the beginning, he mentions both of them. And then he also mentions, he continues to compare, pero dando más detalle las diferencias towards the end of the text or audio. And yes, you are right. It was the first one. So good. Now we're going to listen to a little part of the lecture and a specific part, and we have to reinterpret what the professor is saying. Let's see if we can listen to it on SoundCloud. No puede, parece que no puede reproducirlo. That's weird though. Ahí está. Okay, so let's listen to this part of the lecture. También solo lo vamos a poder escuchar una vez, so. Okay.
Listen again to part of the lecture, then answer the question.
All living things have to consume energy-dense biological materials, otherwise known as foods.
Why does the professor say this?
Otherwise known as foods.
Okay. So, why does the professor say this? Melissa, can you read the options, please?
Okay. Why does the professor say this? To point out the redundancy in referring to the same substance in two ways, to suggest that the topic of the lecture may be simpler than the students expect, to highlight the comically scientific wording of his previous statement, to simplify a concept that may have otherwise been too difficult to grasp.
And which one do you think it is?
Maybe the first one.
When we're listening to audio, we're listening to tone as well. So we can hear if someone sounds, a little disappointed in something, or if they sound really excited and happy about what they're talking about. In this case, the way he says it, he's kind of like datos explicación, and then he says food, and you can hear a little laugh at the end. Yeah. So it's kind of like se está riendo de sí mismo, no? I would go for the third option to highlight how todo ese chuño de palabras que ha dicho se resume en comida.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what you guys think. ¿Hay otro que podría ser mejor opción?
The first one could be also the answer, because he's like expressing like in the tone of redundancy, maybe.
Okay, so we're gonna go with the first one to point out the redundancy. But I feel like, o sea, es como que una precisión, a very precise definition of what food is. pero no son exactamente redundantes, because if I say food, no piensas material orgánico alto en nutrientes, que es blah, 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 blah. So I don't think it's really redundant, but we're gonna go, I go more with the tone. So we're gonna see if it's this one. And yes, the correct answer was the third one. Let's listen to it one more time. You can hear, ya me imagino incluso al personaje de quién debe ser este profesor. So listen
Listen
again.
again to part of the lecture, then answer the question.
All living things have to consume energy-dense biological materials, otherwise known as foods.
Why does the professor say this?
Otherwise known as foods.
So yeah, it's that. It's the contrast entre semejante de explicación súper larga y comida. So yeah, it's that. Listen to the tone when of the speaker. That helps a lot. Okay, so next one. According to the lecture, which of the following describes digestion in both humans and protozoa? Vanessa, can you read the options?
Okay. According to the lecture, which of the following describes digestion in both humans and protozoa? Nourishment is ingested and separated into its various components. A path in the organism's body pushes food through the digestive system. Chemical digestion is carried out in multiple biological structures within the organism. Enzymes draw nutrients from food material during chemical digestion. I'm sorry, did I have a lot of confusion with this word?
Digestion. It's el T-I-N-O sometimes sounds different in different words. And this one is como un chun, digestion.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
And we have two answers. Dos de estos son ciertos. So which ones do you think they are?
Maybe the second one and the third one.
Okay, so we have a path in the organism's body pushes food through the digestive system. It has to be true for both humans and protozoa. Protozoa don't really have a digestive system. O en todo caso, it's not like un proceso that food physically moves through like in humans. That goes through your trachea and your stomach. I don't think it's this one because I think that only applies to humans. What else could it be?
The last one.
Enzymes draw nutrients from, yeah, we're looking for the more general ideas because they have to be true for both of them. So this is a very general idea. So I think it's this one. And otro, ¿cuál podría ser? Is there two?
Well, I think it's the third one.
Okay, I would go more for the first one because in the case of protozoa, the chemical digestion is mostly contained in sus vacuoles, I think they were called. So in humans, no dice que está en tu saliva, que está en your stomach acids, está en diferentes partes del cuerpo, but I think in protozoa está en toda en esa bolita. So this is also a difference between the two. I think a more general statement, así como que de estos, el que suena más general, is que nourishment is ingested and separated into various components. Like that's basically how digestion works. Es solo a general statement about digestion in general. I would go with this one, but we're gonna see. ¿Qué también es este? And the correct answer was yes, the last one. and the first one. So all of these, no, las opciones pueden tener partecitas que están mal. En este caso es que tiene que ser cierto para ambos. This was only true for humans, and yeah, the both of them are true for humans, but not for protozoa. These are general about both. So those were the 6 questions for this listening. So now we're going to do the next one and continue with another 6 questions. Y no dice. Wait, you guys, I'm gonna voy a dejar de compartir un rato y lo voy a resetear de nuevo esta práctica because last class no sé qué le ha pasado a este programa. Okay. All right. So it doesn't give us a title for this one, but let's listen again con sus papelitos para anotar. And here we go.
Now listen to a conversation between a student and a career counselor.
You look a little lost. Can I help you?
Wait. Before we go in, okay, this one's a conversation. Okay, so it's not a lecture. So it's going to be shorter. And okay, for conversations, what we're going to do is first pay attention to the context. ¿Qué es esta? ¿Quién es? Who's talking? Is it a doctor? Are we in a hospital? Is it a doctor and a patient? Is it a teacher and a student? Is it 2 friends? So first the context. Then the problem. There's probably going to be like the topic of discussion, a problem that's going to come up. So what's the main problem in the conversation? Y con esas dos cosas, escuchamos la conversación. It's just going to be almost 4 minutes.
Now listen to a conversation between a student and a career counselor.
You look a little lost. Can I help you?
Sure, I was just looking for a flyer for that career fair on campus.
You mean the big job fair? The one in the university center tomorrow?
Is it that soon?
Yeah, it's coming up quick. That's why we don't have any flyers left. But I can tell you more about it. What do you want to know?
Well, I'm kind of hoping for a summer internship. Do you think going to the job fair would help?
It could, but most of the employers there are looking for more, long-term employees. People who are about to graduate and can make a real commitment to full-time work. There are a few companies that want to hire summer interns, though. What kind of work are you looking for? I mean, what field do you want to work in?
I'm majoring in geology. I was hoping to do some work in geological surveying.
You're in luck then. We don't have a lot of surveying work right here in the city, but the career fair will have some out-of-state recruiters, companies that survey and drill for oil out of state in places like Alaska and North Dakota.
Yeah, that's not quite what I'm looking for. Kind of the opposite, actually. I don't like the way the oil companies wreck the environment. I was hoping I could do some surveys of environmental damage instead. Maybe help a company be more environmentally responsible.
Well, I can tell you that at the moment, the oil companies just want interns who can help them find the oil. They do have positions for environmental consultants, but those would be year-round and full-time. Not really what you want.
Well, would there be any internships that might have something to do with geology?
Maybe. But like I said, most employers aren't just looking for summer interns. Let me look this up for you, though. We have a list of companies at the job fair, and what they want in terms of workers. Ah, just a moment. Oh, here's something.
What is it?
It's a government summer job with the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. They say they want someone who's majoring in geology.
To do surveying for them?
That, they don't say. You'd have to talk to them to find it out. But it is in your field. Are you interested?
Yeah, I'd love to check out the EPA and see if I can intern there. Well, what time does the job fair start tomorrow?
Well, it technically opens at 9 a.m. and runs till 5. But the government agency is just having a short drop-in event. It's in the big conference room on the 3rd floor of the University Center. You can stop by any time between 3 and 4:30.
Well, I'll be there. Thanks for the tip.
Okay, so where were they?
In the university.
In a university, in what kind of event?
A
I
job
think
fair?
Yeah, a job fair. So it's like, no sé si acá nunca he visto, or in maybe your countries, but you know, a place where different companies have like their information and their contacts and some representative that you can go and talk to. And people who are interested in finding a job, van y porque es un espacio físico, or you can go around looking for a job. And who is she?
a student,
What's she studying? Or what's her
Okay.
area?
biology.
Biology. You sure?
Geology.
Geology, yes, because she's talking about the environment, she's talking about oil rigs. So yes. And El Señor is a career counselor. So he's there to help people find their jobs. So for these ones, we have less questions. We have only 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken. But we're gonna see these a little bit more quickly than the other one. Okay. Natalia, what do the speakers mainly discuss?
The exact time, location, and theme of the next job fair, whether the opportunities at the job fair are paid or unpaid, opportunities within the student's field and the upcoming job fair, the effect that different kinds of jobs have on environment.
And which one do you think it is?
I don't know, maybe the last one.
They mention it, but it's very brief. You know, algún rato she says, I don't want to work with that company because I want a job that helps the environment. But it's just mentioned in passing. It's the main idea of the conversation.
I think it's number 3.
Okay, and why do you think so?
Because that's the mainly thing that because in the first part, in the first option, they say the exact time, location, and the theme of the next job fair, but it's just the first part. The main thing that they talk about is about what she wants and what's the job fair going to be for her or going to use.
Yeah, that's the problem, that they go around and around, right? She wants something in her field, but she's not happy with the options. So they look for something more specific or something that fits her needs, her aspirations in a job. So yeah, it's como que the problem or the main idea is what opportunities fit her area. And yes, correct. Good job. All right. Next one. What kind of work does the student hope to do in her internship? So, Daniela, can you read the options? What kind of work does she hope to do?
Work outside of her home state, helping companies find oil, assisting lawmakers in regulations on pollution, geological work to help assess environmental damage. I think it's the last one.
Yeah, and like we said, like she straight up says, right? I want to help reduce environmental damage. And yes, that's the right one. Good job. And the next one, Vanessa, can you read the question and options, please?
Okay. What is the student's opinion of the internship opportunities with oil companies? She's uninterested in oil companies because they would not make use of her personal skills. She's unsurprised to hear oil companies may need interns because she has already considered the option. She does not want to work in the oil industry because she feels that oil companies hurt the environment. If she cannot find any other internship, she may be willing to help oil companies survey for oil.
And which one is it?
I think it's the third one.
Yeah, and like we said, again, that's the reason why she's not really happy with working for an oil company. And yes, that's the correct answer. So good. And the last one, yeah, it's the last one. Melissa, can you read the questions and the question and the options, please?
Okay, according to the career counselor, what is true about the government internship opportunity with the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA? Choose three answers. The EPA will be more interested in finding long-term employees at the job fair. The EPA does not say that they want the interns to do survey for them. The EPA will be recruiting interns during a short afternoon event at the job fair. The EPA is looking for interns with experience working at oil companies. And the last one, the EPA hopes to hire an intern who is studying geology.
So we have 3 answers and 5 options. So nos es más fácil ver que no es cierto, and then just pick the 3. So which one is not true?
I think the fourth one.
Yeah, it doesn't mention at any point that they were looking for oil companies or for someone already working with oil companies. Which one else isn't true? It also doesn't mention specifically what they want their intern to study. See, no, I missed that part. Does it say?
I'm sorry. I don't know, but maybe B, because the counselor said that they doesn't look that, but maybe she can do, but I don't know.
Here, the counselor does say, the EPA doesn't say that they want the interns to do surveying for them. So no niega que no queremos surveys, pero no afirma que sí queremos surveys. Le dice, they don't say, maybe you can ask them, da. That actually is true. So I would go for this one, that it's one of the true options. Which one else? Ya hemos eliminado esta. Bueno, esta hemos eliminado. Nos quedan una por eliminar y otros 2 por elegir.
The last one I think is true also.
When intern is studying in geology. I'm not sure, I don't remember that bit, but I'm going to trust your word. ¿Cuál más podría ser cierto?
The third one.
The EPA is recruiting interns during a short afternoon event at the job fair. Yeah, they do mention that bit.
Yeah, because they say the EPA was looking for a job in summer. It's a summer job.
Exactly. So this one isn't true either, because they're not looking for long-term employees. So it's those 3. We're going to go with those 3. And yes, those 3 are correct. So, con eso, oh, there's one more, last one. Si es que logro que funcione el audio. Sorry guys, cuando esta plataforma y el Zoom están corriendo al mismo tiempo, they don't exactly get along the best. Okay. So let's listen to this part of the conversation.
Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
Well, I'm kind of hoping for a summer internship. Do you think going to the job fair would help?
It could, but most of the employers there are looking for more long-term employees.
Why does the career counselor say this?
It could, but most of the employers there are looking for more long-term employees.
Vanessa, what do you think?
The first one is correct.
He's suggesting that not many summer internships are available. Okay, yes, it could be that. Let's look at the other options. He's letting the students know that there are chances for her to continue working at the end of summer. Not really, right? Doesn't sound like that one. He feels that the student does not have enough work history to qualify for some available work. Also not really, porque if he wanted her to see, if he didn't believe she was qualified, he wouldn't offer a long-term job. So I don't think it's that one either. And he believes the student should ask employers at the job fair for a full-time position. It also might be this one, but we have to listen to the tone here. He sounds kind of like, suena como que no sabe cómo decir una mala noticia. Ahí está buscando a summer internship, and he's looking for a nice way to say, pues no hay summer internships. So yes, it sounds like the first one. And yes, the correct answer was the first one. Y ahora sí, con eso hemos acabado the 2 listenings. So wait. Okay, so do you guys have any questions about the types of questions there are, about the class in general?
Miss, I had a question. How we have to take notes if we are going to take the TOEFL home edition?
I think you can take them like on a paper. You could, when you take the official test, I think they give you a piece of paper for you to write it down. In the home edition, I'm sure you can have access to anything to take notes for yourself.
Okay, because I heard that we have to have like una pizarra de marcador, and you have to write and show, and then you have to erase, and I don't know if it's
for
true.
note taking, para tomar apuntes.
Yeah.
No, usually they have like I know no me acuerdo ahorita la palabra, but they have someone, to ensure you're not like cheating or anything. But other than that, no estás en revisar que estás escribiendo ni nada. So no, you can take your notes on a piece of paper.
Okay. Thanks, Miss.
Anything else? Did you guys think the first listening was difficult? Or was it okay? ¿Pudieron bien con el primero? More or less. Okay, we're gonna look.
It was difficult for me.
Vamos a ver con más calma los que son más pesaditos, más así, más académicos in the next class. But yeah, it was a little difficult, the first one. So yeah, I think that would be all for today's class. I'm going to send you guys the poll. And wait a second. Lo llenan and pueden ir saliendo. Give me 2 seconds para que lo mande. Okay. So, llenan el poll y pueden irse saliendo. So it was nice to see you guys. And I hope you had a nice class today. Y nos vemos el viernes. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.